Hi, this is a really easy 30-minute project to make these little cute crisp packets in 12th scale. So let's get to it. First thing you need to do is go to my blog and go to the navigation bar, and under the heading of printies you can download this Monster Munch A4 sheet, and you can print it on your own printer on, I would suggest, photography paper on A4 size on the best setting. I think there's about 30 of them per page, so if you're doing a miniature shop, that's one shelf filled. When you print it out, cut a strip like this and leave around 3mm on the top and bottom. Now the paper, no matter which paper you use, is pretty rigid, and the way I get around this to make it look more pliable and realistic is I delaminate the paper. I take the back off, and the way you do it, you take a scalpel blade or something sharp and you just pick at the corner, and what happens is, might take a few goes, it's taken me about 8 years to do. If you pick at it, it just peels away, because photography paper is just a load of layers, the chemical side and the fibre side, and once you get it going, it just goes. It just wants to peel. It needs to peel. When you get that end off, it is really easy. It just tears, just gently peel away. And now you'll find that the paper is a lot more pliable. So on this side, hold on, I'll just make this easier so I'm not holding the whole thing. So on this side, the label side, you need to cut right up to the line. On all my prints, what I do is I put a stroke line around the design so you can see where you need to cut to. And on the other side, you can see this white gap. This is where we're going to glue over and fold onto. So I'm just going to make this about the same 3mm. Just take that extra off. Right, now get a piece of scrap wood. This is part of a coffee stirrer, anything like that would do. All you need it for is to support the paper as you're gluing. So you just hold it there and just wrap around, not tightly, just to hold it. And what you're going to do is get these lined up. Well, that's skew width. So you're trying to get the top and the bottom black lines matched up. Take some PVA glue, this is just regular PVA paper glue, and just put a bead of glue along the edge. Now I always smudge it with my finger because I don't want that glue to seep out onto the photography paper, onto the print. I know, it's terrible getting dirty fingers and putting glue on, and just mash it there. Now you need to just set this aside, because if you try to do anything while there's glue on photography paper and the glue's wet, what it does is it wets the fibres and they just tear. So just set that aside, and if you're doing the whole sheet you could just do one after the other. Just set them aside, glue, set them aside, and then it makes the process a lot faster. And here's one I prepared earlier. Always want to say that. So this has been sitting there for about 5 minutes and dried. Now the reason you leave this gap on the edge is you don't want the glue to ooze out and go on the print, because it'll just damage the print. So what you're doing is you're putting a line of glue inside from the edge, because what we're going to do is we are going to glue the bottom first of the packet. So I don't know if you can see there, the glue is about 3 or 4 millimeters in. Take a pair of pliers or something to hold it. You can use a bulldog grip or something like that. And what you want to do is clamp it down like that and just hold it, and take a paintbrush, something that's got a rounded end, and put it in, and what you want to do is manipulate the paper so it looks like a crisp packet. You know, when it's got something in it, you're sort of trying to make the packet look as if it's got something in. And you just, again, hold that for, well, 30 seconds, but let the glue dry. Just set it aside. And again, got 30 of them on the go, just one after the other. And once it's dry, we are going to fill it. Now, I use this packer material. It's this foam stuff. Now, the reason I use it is once you squish it down, the more you squish it down, it gets really hard and it gives a nice solid base. I mean, I use a variety of things for different packets. I use cut up elastic bands and beads and things like that. But for the crisp packets, I found this really good. So just get it, pull it in a little bit or snip it in a little bit. Here's more I prepared earlier. And what we're going to do is just pack this bag out to make it look as if there is crisps in the bottom. So just grab a bit and pack it down with the end of a brush. Don't be worried about pressing right down, because the photography paper is pretty robust, and as long as you've glued it and let it dry properly, it'll be fine. I would suggest you put fill the bottom third of the packet. I don't know where you are in the world, but in England, where I am, crisp packets, we have this joke that you get these big bags and it's got about 3 crisps in, because the manufacturers like to fill them with air. So a little bit more. Pack that right down, and then you see, and then what we're going to do is glue the top. So again, with the glue, you're putting it inside as much, well, you're trying to keep it away from the edge. Right, got a nice bead there. Now this time when you clamp it, we're going to manipulate the top to make it look realistic again. So put your pliers or your bulldog clip or whatever across. Can you see the big Sharon bag, the line at the top, the banner? Clamp it along there, and because it's solid inside, you can actually manipulate it. You can squish it up so that actually looks like a crisp bag full of air and 3 crisps. hold that for 10 seconds and let go and set that aside for 5 minutes just to make sure that it's properly dry, and move on to the next one. And when it's all glued, what you should have is a nice wrinkly bag of crisps. Just take a sharp pair of scissors, and you want to cut just inside the black line, and do it in a oner, because if you try and cut 3 or 4 times across, you're going to tear it. I've done it so many times. So just whoop, and again on the bottom. And that's it. 30-minute project, fill a shelf or 2 in your shop. Marvellous. Bye bye for now.